Welcome to the 52 Love Podcast, your show for 52 lessons in 52 weeks. Before we dive in, remember you can find the audio version of this episode, along with the rest of the series, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Radio Public. And now, here's your host, Ms. Tonya Todd.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the 52 Love Podcast. I'm your host, Tonya Todd. 52 Love began as a blog series last year, 52 Love Lessons in 52 Weeks. This year, we are exploring each of those tips with a new guest each week. This week's tip is to take care of a task that is usually your partner's. It's to help your partner with a job that is usually theirs to achieve. And here to discuss it is my guest, Gabby. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi, yeah, my name is Gabby. I am a romance author. I have two different pen names, G.S. Carr and then Gabrielle Carr. And so it was really cool when you asked me to do this because there's like the theory and then there's like the reality. So I'm really excited.
So why don't you tell us what your thoughts were when assigned this tip and then how you went about applying it and then how it worked out for you?
Yeah. Honestly, upon receiving the tip, this particular task, it was kind of interesting because my husband's love language really isn't acts of service. It's more so kind of mine. So it was really interesting to kind of see like how he would react, to that and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I decided to do, we're actually in the process of selling our house, um, and the entire house needs to be painted. So I took it upon myself to, start painting the house and getting the house painted and doing that for him, and letting him like go off and do poker nights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really cool. And it's actually kind of funny because one of the things that I noticed about him like was that he actually feels kind of like bad about it, I guess. He's like, no man, like you can't do that. And I'm like, no, man, I got this. Like, I want to do this for you, and everything. So it's kind of weird. Like, 'cause like I said, he feels a little guilty, I guess, about me like letting me do it all or whatever, because that's usually like the house stuff is like him, like, I don't even take out the trash. So um yeah, but it's really cool, like just allowing him to be able to kind of sit back and, let me handle this thing for him and everything like that. So yeah, I liked it. Definitely, definitely. And it was just one of those ways for us to, I guess, kind of just try something different. So I'm really glad that you again kind of let me come on here and let me try that. It was a lot of fun. So yeah.
It's important to know the love languages, though. Like,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that you did one that was outside of his. Just, that doesn't mean these are the only ways that I can show you love.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, so his love language generally is like words of affirmation and physical touch. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, mine is usually like acts of service and stuff like that. So it was actually kind of cool because like on the flip side of that, um, being one that receives love kind of in like the acts of service, like it made me feel kind of better too, to be able to give
Yeah.
it to him in that way. Because like I felt like, yeah, I was like doing something to help him out and like it made me feel good too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And for something like this, you could have gone as simple as, it's usually your job to take out the trash. I'll handle it. You know what? I'm going to fill up the vehicles with gas so you don't have to be bothered with that. That works, but you went full force and painted the house. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually it's fun. It's kind of funny because I have ADHD real bad, so like I have to compartmentalize, and I can only do like a certain task at a time. So I will say that he probably would like it to get done a lot faster than I'm
hmm
able to do it. But he's still again appreciative of the fact that I'm doing it in general and everything like that. So yeah, but it's yeah, he definitely would probably appreciate it if I could get 'cause, like, I literally could do, like, a wall a day or, like, a side of the room a day, and, like, that's it.
yeah.
So, but
Hey,
yeah.
it's getting done.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it was definitely I really enjoyed, like, being able to do that for him, so, yeah.
Well, you said that it's usually his job to take care of the house. What are your
Mhm.
responsibilities?
Um, I will definitely say I think in our relationship we don't necessarily have like defined roles. So like, but like I just more so do like the cleaning up, I guess, around the
Mhm.
house sometimes. So like, clean up the bathroom or whatever. So and it we didn't like ever like sit down, just us personally. We never like sat down. I was like, okay, you do this, or anything like that. It just kind of like if I don't clean the
Happens
bathroom,
organically usually, right?
yeah, it won't get clean. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just like usually like cleaning up the house and stuff like that, and then I take care of all the bills and stuff like that. Like I'm a
So
finance.
how do you feel
So
if he tries to take over something that is usually your job? Do you appreciate it or do you feel controlling about it? Like, "Oh, that's mine."
yeah, it's actually kind of funny. I won't say control. I won't say
You won't
controlling.
say it, that doesn't mean it's not
Uh,
true.
so, um, I definitely I like things to be done a very specific way. And no one
Same.
like them done a specific way. Like I'm not picky. So like I'm not the type of
I
person
prefer
where
the
I'll be
term
like,
finicky.
yeah, oh, I like that. I like that. So like I won't like necessarily like expect him to do anything, Like I won't be like, "Oh, man, like if I'm not the one doing it, it doesn't get done." But like I actually
Mhm.
prefer that because like if I do it, like it can be done the way I like it to be done.
Yeah.
Because like if he does it, I would never ask him to change how he did it, if that makes sense. Like people who like,
Yes.
yeah, like
You're
I would
grateful
never
that it's
ask
being
him.
done and it's not like, "Well, he didn't do
Yeah,
it my way, so it's not worthwhile." No, it is
yeah,
worthwhile because he still
exactly,
did it, and
exactly.
it got
Yeah.
done.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, exactly, although I probably would have done it this way and this way
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but the however is in silent parentheses.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so, um, but yeah, it definitely would be a lot harder for me, like, he tried to make me, like when we first got married, I'm very picky with food and stuff, and so he used to try to
Mhm,
make me, like, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff, and I never liked peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, growing up, I have a thing about soggy bread. And so like the bread has to be toasted
mhm.
specifically, then there has to be like certain proportions of peanut butter and jelly. And he used to like try to make me sandwiches when we were first married and dating and stuff. And I was like, please don't make me sandwiches. Because then I felt obligated to eat them. But like I definitely like appreciate like the effort,
Right, I
and
appreciate the work you're putting
everything.
into this, but I need to
Yeah,
be honest with you. It's
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I, learned to eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches in various, um, stages of, completion or whatever, like,
Mhm.
so, yeah, so, yeah.
If you put the peanut butter on both slices of bread, it reduces a lot of that sogginess.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that's like a trauma of childhood, like, when you're, like, going out to the beach or something and your mom used to make sandwiches and put them in the cooler, and then they got soggy by
Mhm.
the time you actually ate them, and I just can't
No, that
touch
doesn't
it.
sound appetizing at all.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, but I learned to eat them in college because I was so broke that I had, like, no other choice. Like, you get a loaf of bread and a jar of jam and peanut butter, and it'll last you for, like, a month. So, I
Right,
learned in college or whatever, but very specifically,
which
but
is a
again,
different trauma, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. But again, back to like, I appreciate him wanting to do that for me. Um, and that's one thing about my husband. I will say he always, like, wants to, like, show me that he loves me and, like, do it in a way that works for me, and that's why I love him, like, that's one of the reasons why I love him so much because he's so awesome. So, yeah.
Because he puts in the effort to love you in your language, huh?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like, yeah. He'll be like, "Alright, babe, like, what can I do for you?" And he plays with me a lot. So, like, I get these moods where I'll just, like, wanna be absolutely ridiculous, and he'll be like, "Alright, look, you got, like, 20 minutes to just be foolish, and then you
Mhm.
gotta rein it in." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. 20 minutes."
It's good that you play together.
Yeah,
It keeps the
definitely.
relationship fun.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Do you put any of these idiosyncrasies into your books?
So it's actually kinda funny. I I was thinking the other day, I was like, I feel like sometimes you can see what an author defines as love in like how they write their romance book, because I mean, obviously, like that's the point. It's like the two characters like showing that they love each other, and so you can kind of see that. So I never thought I did necessarily, but like some of my friends, they're like, okay, yeah, I literally heard you all up and down that book. So I guess the answer is yes. Like kind of subconsciously, I probably just, toss all those in there. And like I'm thinking I'm giving these characters like their own individual identities, but maybe I'm not.
I
But
went through the same thing, people asked, "Is this character you?" Like, "No, this is not my character,"
yeah,
and the character in question happens to be an actress. Well, I
yeah,
wasn't an actress when I started writing it, so of course it's not me. Like, I became an
yeah,
actor after I wrote the book,
yeah.
and she kind of inspired me, and then I ended up taking this truth workshop, and I had kind of 7 stories that I was dealing with,
Mhm.
and I just broke down crying in the truth workshop because all of my characters are me. They're all me.
Yeah,
They're not each other,
yeah,
but they are all me, and I was really
exactly.
just kidding myself.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. I think that, like, it just you can't help it. So it's just kind of just a piece of your like, you leave a piece of your soul in each of the books,
Mhm.
and it's like a piece of yourself, like, because it's how you see the world, and any piece of art, no matter if it's like a book or painting or anything, like, it's how that artist saw the world at that point in time.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. What was this truth workshop? What did you do in that?
It was something that was done for Henderson Writers Group. I was not the education chair at that point, and really, it wasn't even the education chair who put it together. It was Amanda Skenendor brought in Erica Vital-Lazar, I believe is how you say her name. She's just fantastic. She's just poetic in everything that she says,
Mhm.
and, I mean, she just sat us down, and we went through these different exercises, and it hit me in the middle of the class that
Mm,
all of my characters are me. Like, why did I not think that they're me, you know?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, because they don't all look like me. They have so many
Mhm.
different qualities, and there's
Yeah,
plenty of things that are different from me, but at their core, there's even the antagonists in the story, they're me, It's not
yeah,
not just the main characters, but they're the important characters. They all have some connection to me, a thread that I wasn't acknowledging, and now I'm okay with it, Now it's like, "Okay, well, this is this part of me, and this is this part of me." And the main one in question is very much like you, where she is extremely particular about her food choices and how things are prepared, and
yeah,
I am also like that. And
yeah.
I made her even worse, but there were people who knew me. They're like, "Yeah, that's you." Yeah, no, nobody else is like that. That's a you thing. Other people don't get like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Well, why not?" You
yeah,
know? Their food should be prepared properly, you know?
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That sounds like an awesome workshop, definitely. Like, yeah, if I did something like that, I'd probably end up crying my eyeballs out too. But yeah.
It
How's it
was. It
Yeah,
stuck with me. It was fantastic, and,
yeah.
you just learn things about yourself while you're
Mhm.
writing, and then these workshops, and the things that you learned become even more clear.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the one thing I think I noticed about myself is, like, even, like, my definition of love or whatever that I kinda, like, saw through my writing is, so one of the things about writing is, there's, like, that balance between, like, being commercial and then, like, writing the story that you love. I think it's, like, the
Yeah.
every artist's, battle. And, I write really, um like, emotional. Like, I want to, like, rip your heart out, make you laugh, make you cry, possibly make you angry. Like, my favorite, reaction from one of my readers was she was like, "I was on a plane, and I was reading the book, and I literally just started yelling and screaming and, like, was like, "God, would you do that?" And then, like, the guy next to her was like, ma'am, if it's upsetting you that much, maybe you should put it down." And I was like, "Yeah." And I don't know, like, I guess, like, right now, some from what I've been hearing is, like, everyone's like, "Oh, like, you wanna do a rom-com, like, something fun and light," and I'm like, "I can't write fun and light," but I'm, like, noticing, like, but I need that though, and even, like in like personal relationships or whatever, like I feel like that true, and this is like my personal, like that true understanding or depth of that love, like it kind of comes from like working through the mess together,
Mhm.
and um like that's one thing that I definitely love about like me and my husband is the fact that he lets me just like be a mess and like still loves me. you know um and I've heard horror stories of women who are like, they'll tell their husband like their deepest darkest secrets, or their fiancés or boyfriends or whatever, and they're like, and then they like, nah, leave them or whatever, and like
Mhm.
my husband just lets me be a complete and total psychopath and like lay on the floor and be like and then he'll be like, so what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, whatever you want, okay, let's go. And so I
That's that acts of service, though. Let me take care of you.
yeah, true.
But there is that, there's that quote that if your partner doesn't love you at your worst, they don't deserve you at your best.
True
And it
that.
sounds
True
like
that.
he loves you at your worst.
Yeah, he does. He does. And I love it. And and it's actually kind of funny because he helps me to see my best, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know if that, but like one of the thing about like ADHD, like people think about it's, oh, you're like scatterbrained or whatever, and like that's part of it, but not like fully. Like part of it is like I am I get like really like hard on myself. Like sometimes like I get just like really overwhelmed with everything that I have to get done. And so like it kind of puts me into this space where like my anxiety just shoots through the roof, and then like I can't get anything. Then I just get like paralyzed and like can't motivate myself to do like anything. And then like I'm
Mhm.
like beating myself up because I can't just go and do. And then like it I just kind of like hate myself, I guess, for like a moment there or whatever. And then it gets even worse because like I know like I'm good at whatever it is, or like sometimes like I even like want to do whatever it is that I'm not able to like bring myself to do. And like he'll just like sit there with me and like he'll be like, it's okay, babe. Like, you're like he just helps me to remember like that's not like all of it. Like the fact that when I do get past these moments, like I do great work, or whatever. And like there are systems in place that can like help me to kind of get over there, or he'll be
Mhm.
that, support system to help me kind of get over those moments or whatever. And, just like help me to like, again, see the good through the fog of my crazy brain. So yeah, I love my husband. Well,
I can tell.
okay, that's her.
Does
Like
he
talking about this
inspire
out
any of
loud.
your characters?
Um, you know, I can I won't say like specifically, I guess, like inspiring any particular one, but I guess there's like and again, I think there's going to be a piece of him and everything, just like there's a piece of me
Mhm.
and everything, because it's again kind of how we've managed things, and it kind of just like kind of
Right.
shapes my view, and again how I write and everything like that. So yeah, yeah.
So tell us about what you write.
I write historical romance. And I have two pen names. GS Carr, she's my I guess sweet is what, like, I say sweet, like no on page sex, I guess, or whatever. And it's
Mhm.
mainly like American Reconstruction era Western type. And I actually started that one back in 2018 because it was just like a story of my heart, and I wrote it, and people were like, okay, great, like, and now where's the next one? And I was like, next one, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I have Gabrielle Carr, so that's my more like commercial Regency, and all that good stuff, on page sex or whatever. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it because like one thing about me is like I try to make the majority of my heroines people of color, and just like I love it because like I get to shine a light on a different part of history. Uh,
Mhm.
because there's sometimes I feel like not a lot of narratives out there, like especially like in the Regency, like people swear up and down Black people didn't exist in London until like the 1960s or something. And I'm like, that's cool. you know. So
It
it's
just
and
appeared.
yeah, it's great being able to like reimagine, what could have been. Like, and I think that's one thing people forget, like especially in the historical realm. Like they're like that can't happen. I was like, it's reimagining. Like it's fiction first and foremost. So like I get to reimagine what could have happened or what these characters could have been like or what their life could have been like
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. So I love it. It's absolutely it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
How do you do your research?
It's actually kind of funny. I was not a history person in school, like at all. Um, and the first book that I wrote, like it just kind of came. Like I said, it was like I swear I wanted to write that book since I was like 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then so once I like actually was like, okay, like I really enjoy this genre and like my voice, I feel like lends to it. I was like, all right. So I mean, honestly, like a lot of just like Google searches can like start me off sometimes. Like um, and then like it's like a Google search will like point me to like a particular person like Nathaniel Wells, guy from St. Kitts, who was back in the Regency era, who was half black, and his dad sent to England and he became like a high sheriff or whatever. Um, and so like I'll take that little piece and then like I'll just like go on this rabbit hunt, like maybe like find a book about him or
Mm-hmm.
just something like that, or just yeah, like typing in like black people in London or the old west or whatever, and then just like
Come
buying
up with
books and
amazing photos, don't you?
yeah, yeah, it's so cool.
You're like,
It's
if
so cool.
black people didn't exist, what's all this?
Yeah. Here we go. Like, like even in paintings and stuff like that. Like, you
Right.
know, yeah. And so it's super cool. Like I love it. And just like I have a ton of books. And I've been super excited when I decided to be a writer because like I get to write them all off on my taxes. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
You know what? I never thought of that. Of all the
yeah.
things that I even have a section in my newsletter that says, like, this is for my writing group book club, this is for
Mhm.
research, and this
Yep.
is for me.
Yep.
So the entire time I've been doing that, those books that I purchased for research could have been written off.
There you go. Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Keep that in mind next year. Definitely. Oh, I keep all my receipts because I'm like, oh, this
This is not the
this
lesson
is
we thought we were going to learn today, but
yeah,
I learned it.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like literally I have an entire bookshelf. Like I have the four bookshelf from IKEA in my office. And like I have one bookshelf that's just like all research books and stuff. And it's
Mhm.
yeah. Um, so I love it. Yeah.
What are you working on now?
So I am currently working on a Regency for Gabby Carr. Well, it's actually kind of funny. So I have two books. I have a Western for G.S. Carr, and it's almost like a quarter of the way finished. And then I
Mhm.
had to like remind myself to focus. So I put that to the side briefly, and so now I'm working on a Regency, and it's a lot of fun because I always decide I always have to decide how much, again, of that reimagining and what if versus like real history, excuse me, to
Mhm.
do in my books. Because being real, a lot of the time frames wasn't the best. Um, there was slavery and just in general, workhouses with children and, it wasn't like the best, best
Yeah.
time in history for how people were treated. Um, but then at the same time, of course, people read to escape, especially the Regency. It's like all about the ball gowns and the, blah,
Right.
blah. So like how to like marry those two or whatever. So I've just decided that I have to just be true to who I am. So I'm working on a Regency where the heroine, she is half black. Her father married her mother in Jamaica and then brought her over to England. And so he wants her to get married and all that stuff. So she's having like her season or whatever, but then some of the um, dangers and the family secrets and stuff from the dad's time in Jamaica kind of comes and
Mhm.
bites them in the butt in England and everything like that. So she has to, you know, kind of save her skin while on the marriage mark, while, like trying to, yeah, navigate all this other good stuff. And of course, the sexy Earl that like catches her attention, but of course is like bad boy all day. So,
Yeah. So when do I get to read this?
yeah, no, it's coming out November 2nd. So, yeah.
Oh, you're that close.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So we're in the final production phase and all that good
What's
stuff.
your publication path? Like, are you self-publishing? Do you use a small press? Are you traditionally published?
Yeah, so I self-publish. Well, I guess I'm technically here. I got an agent, and so we did a couple of Audible originals. So I did
Hmm.
a contemporary actually with Audible, The Perfect Play. It's about two people but wake up in Vegas, football player or whatever, and then the twin sister of one of his teammates. They wake up in Vegas, married, and all that good stuff. So that was actually a lot of fun. That was kind of on the rom com scale.
Vegas.
So yeah, yeah. And so I actually realized I can kind of sort of do a rom com, kind of. Um, so yeah, so I have a couple audibles or whatever. So I guess for me, when I think about the traditional versus the self publishing and everything like that, to me, traditional publishing should be a um it should everything should be done with purpose. Like I think some people want to do it because they have like the accolades of, oh, I was traditionally
Right.
published. But to me, my traditional publishing, I actually think of it as a loss, kind of. Like I don't think I'll really make all that much money or as much money as I could if I published it myself. But they
Hmm.
have a much larger audience and reach, of course. And
Right. They have
uh,
distribution.
yeah, exactly. So my thought is I want to use that platform to like rise the tide of my self-publishing books. So that's why I'm working on getting out a couple of my regencies, which is more of the genre mainstream type stuff, self-published, and then I want to do the traditional publishing route with maybe like a new series. And again, those
Hmm.
traditional books can kind of raise the awareness and the tide of my self-published books. So that's you got to have a plan
I
with anything.
love how much thought you've put into this. You're not like, oh, we'll just see how it goes. Like, I'm doing this, this, and this, and this, and it's going to lead to this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business. Like, I love it, absolutely love it, but it is a business.
And it's
We're
good
here
that you
from
know
the
that.
yeah, exactly. So
Well, so
yeah,
that you can make some of that money, why don't you tell the audience
exactly.
where they can find you and your work?
Yeah, so you can actually find me on Amazon, GS Carr and Gabrielle Carr, or you could just find me on my website. So you could just type in gscar.com, and I actually um, have like both of my pen names on the same website because it's basically historical romance, the same thing, just spicy versus not spicy. So it's
Hmm.
all on the one website. So yeah. Oh, and also I've been on
Spicy versus
TikTok.
mild, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And also I've been on TikTok recently. It is not anything book related. It's me just being super foolish.
Well, you
So
said you'd like to play, right?
yeah, like it's super like my husband's like, you have no sense. And I was like, no, I don't. So yeah, I'm also on TikToks, Gaboo for life. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, Gaboo, and then the number four, and then life. Yeah. When I was younger, when I was in high school, one of my um, friends called me Gaboo, so that just kind of stuck with me. All that. So
You're probably the only one on there with that name, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you
Mhm.
very much for trying the tip and sharing your
Yeah,
experience with it and for sharing your work. I can't wait to read it.
yeah.
And
Thank
thank
you
you
so
to
much
the
for having
audience
me.
for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a note for Gabby in the comments, letting her know how much you enjoyed having her on the show. And until next time, remember to treat love as a verb.